Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
All right. Grace and peace, everybody. We're going to do a very quick, I'm going to call it the Orleans Parish jailbreak update. So this is day 4 of the jailbreak. It broke out on Friday morning. And so far, day 4, they got four of them caught. So, shout out to them. I do want to talk about one of the ramifications of this story, which is something you don't really think about. It's the victims that were impacted by the crime that these inmates committed. And whether it was a deletion or a robbery or some other kind of violence, there's family or potentially victims that are kind of in fear because this person is out and about. I don't know. I'm going to bring this in as a newscast that they were looking at one of the victims of one of the inmates that escaped, and they were talking about how they're living in fear now. So let's just bring it in. Let's just talk about it. Let's go.
Notify us, no one tell us anything. We had to leave work. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Wednesday, Jamar Robinson's family celebrated his birthday.
Love you, miss you.
2 days later, they were in hiding after finding out that the man convicted of his murder had escaped from prison.
Wow.
Just get all our family members out of the city. We had to get everyone out of the city. Didn't know what way we was going. Where we was going. Crying, devastated.
2 of Robinson's family members spoke with us over the phone. They asked not to be named for their safety. Robinson and another man, Byron Jackson, were shot and killed on Mardi Gras in 2018. Derek Groves was arrested for their murders. Late Friday morning, someone they knew called the family and told them that a group of inmates had broken out of Orleans Justice Center. Groves was one of them.
No one notified us. No one tell us anything. We had to leave work. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how Derek Groves felt like with this process of us. Either he was coming for us. We didn't know.
They say they went to a nearby police station and 2 officers escorted them home. They grabbed what they could, got the family's young kids, including Robinson's son, from school. Then they left. By that time, Groves had been out for hours.
We just didn't know what to do at that point. And I'm so angry with the Orleans Parish prison because it's like, when I look at the news, I see the boys pulling on the door. Like, this prison was just recently built, and you mean to tell me the doors was that easy to pull apart?
Groves was convicted of killing Robinson and Jackson in 2019.
Wow.
But the jury wasn't unanimous, and a Supreme Court ruling ended up throwing out the verdict because of it. The next trial in 2023 was declared a mistrial. The next one, later that year, ended with a deadlocked jury. Then, finally, in October of last year, Groves was convicted again. His sentencing was set for July.
It's just crazy. It's
like, he was supposed to be sentenced.
Because every time we move on from this, something come up.
Now, with Groves on the run, Robinson's family is trying to figure out what to do about their jobs and the kids' school. They're planning to stay hidden while they wait for justice again.
That is crazy. Hold on one second. I don't know if y'all heard that. Okay. Man, that's crazy. I didn't think about that. And man, that guy he had 3 trials since 2018. Good gravy, man. All right, so I got a couple of other little clips. So let's talk about the jail. The jail has it's not a good spot. It's not a good place. So we got a quick update on the jail itself. The Orleans Parish Jail has a history of jailbreaks. Let's bring this in very quickly. Appreciate y'all. Let's go. Orleans Parish Jail has a history of jailbreaks. Here's the last time an inmate escaped. Let me play this real quick.
Hudson escaped from the jail and was on the run for 3 weeks. Even recorded a video of himself on Bourbon Street before being captured.
That's
Johnson
crazy.
was also involved in an incident in 2013 in which multiple videos of him and other inmates recorded inside the jail were released. The inmates could be seen using illegal drugs, brandishing a loaded gun, and using cell phones. No jail employees were fired or charged in that.
That is crazy work. Hold on. Sorry about that. I don't know why is it muted?
Not the first time the Orleans Parish Jail has been under fire for incidents involving its inmates. Back in 2009, Arthur Johnson escaped from the jail and was on the run for 3 weeks, even recorded a video of himself on Bourbon Street before being captured. Johnson was also involved in an incident in 2013 in which multiple videos of him and other inmates recorded inside the jail were released. The inmates could be seen using illegal drugs, brandishing a loaded gun, and using cell phones. No jail employees were fired or charged in that.
Wait. Wait, hold on. Wait, how you got it? They got a beer. Yo, this jail is out of pocket. Wait, how you got a whole Miller Lite up in that piece? And I mean, let's not even miss this. Let's not even skip this right here. I mean, he has a weapon. Wait, it's not backing up. Sorry about that. Yo, that is the crate. Wait, hold on. Wait, make sure.
Not the first time the Orleans Parish Jail.
Oh, wait, hold on. Right here. He literally has a weapon right there, and he's expelling the bullets. Right there, look. He's shooting out the bullet. Wow. That is crazy work. And then this cat got a whole tall boy. They got a whole Miller. Yo, this jail is out of pocket. Wow. This jail is out of range, y'all. Okay, it'll get a little bit better, I think. Maybe it'll get a little bit better, y'all, because at least we can say that it was 10, but now there are, hold on, somebody. There's 10, and now there are 6. So 4 have been caught. Shout out to them for getting these guys under control. My goodness, in the morning. I'm still trying to figure out how they doing that. All right, here it comes. Let's talk about it. 4th escaped inmate captured in the New Orleans after jail break. Let's go. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Move myself out the way. Let's go. That looks better. All right, let's zoom this in a little smidgen. There we go. Authorities say that Price will be transferred to a secure state facility outside of New Orleans area. New Orleans, a 4th inmate who escaped from New Orleans Parish Justice Center early Friday morning has been captured, according to Louisiana State Police. 21-year-old Gary C. Price has taken into custody on Monday in New Orleans. He is one of 10 inmates who broke out of the facility. Authorities say Price will be transferred. We just said that already. Kendall Mays, we're not going to go through all these names, have been captured. LSPD, Louisiana State Police, say more than 200 local, state, and federal law enforcement officers continue to work around the clock to locate the remaining fugitives. The manhunt has now stretched into the 4th day, with officers securing neighborhoods and following leads across the region. Officials continue to urge public to report sightings. The following rewards are being offered per fugitive for information leading to their arrest. So we already know that they got Crime Stoppers is 5, ATF is 5, FBI is 10, so a total of $20,000 per criminal. How did escape happened? According to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, the inmates broke free around 12:23 a.m. on Friday, using defective cell locks and a breached wall behind a toilet. They exited through a supply dock and scaled a perimeter wall before fleeing across the interstate. The civilian monitor had reportedly stepped away for food at the time. That right there, I don't know about this. I'm worried about this story. I don't like this. So they're just blaming it on some lowly civilian, that some civilian is the reason why this got out of hand like that. I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel. I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like they're trying to blame it on a civilian when it's not a civilian's fault. I think it's, and then we've kind of picked up that it's probably more to it than that, but I don't know. I don't like to blame it on the civilian. I mean, it is what it is. 3 security cameras in the unit were inoperable. Come on, what? A photo obtained from WWL Louisiana shows a hole in the wall with a mocking message written above it, "Too easy, LOL." From there, the inmates made good on their escape by running out of the door of the loading dock and scaling the wall of the fence. Then the inmates crossed I-10 into neighborhood. Video has been, as we already saw that of them walking around. Accountability underway. 3 OPSU. What's OPSO? What is that? Office employees have been suspended without pay as the investigation continues. Sheriff Susan Hudson said on Friday that she's raising the red flags about the jail's infrastructure since taking office. There's no way people can get out of this facility without some type of lapse in security. She said it's almost impossible without help. Officials confirmed the escapees used tools to cut through the steel bars and likely received inside assistance from someone within OPSO. We just saw them with a loaded gun in a cell. I think it's fair to say that they get a lot of help over there. I don't know another way to say it. That's craziness. Here we are talking about the convicts that are still at large. Okay. That story is bonkers. All right, let's get done. I think this is the last one. I think it was. Oh no, I did that one. Sorry about that. Okay, it was. Shout out to Marshall the Plug. He literally has sent me 3 new ones. All right, so we're gonna do these ones brand new. I have no idea what we're about to see. Oh, we just saw this one. That's me. That's a man down situation. Latest update. All right, so this is a young lady. We saw her yesterday, I believe it was. So let me pull this in. Shout out to Marshall, man. Thank you so much for this, Marshall. I appreciate you, brother. All right, let's get rid of this and bring the new one in. All right. Of course, as always, green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
A 4th escaped inmate has just been caught, meaning there are still 6 who escaped from the Orleans Justice Center Friday that are still on the run, and a lot has happened since then. I'm Devin Bartolotta with the latest updates on what happened today, plus a roundup of what you might have missed this weekend. First, 21-year-old Gary Price was caught this evening. Booking information shows he was facing 7 counts of attempted first-degree murder.
Holy cow.
4 of the 6 inmates still on the run are either accused or convicted of murder or attempted murder. Derek Groves was convicted of killing 2 men and was awaiting sentencing. And District Attorney Jason Williams says because he's now on the run, several of his staff members who worked on the case are now in hiding, as are some of the family members of one of Groves's victims. Also today, the sheriff was called to federal court for an emergency meeting regarding the consent decree. Councilman Joe Giarrusso says it does not appear as though the jail was following court-mandated frequent rounds. And one of the things that the judge can do is appoint someone to run the jail. We also know there will be a state audit of the jail. The Department of Corrections is doing a physical assessment, and lawmakers currently in session will be filing a bill to require adult jail facilities to report escapes within 10 minutes. The political blame game gets worse every single press conference. The governor now partially blames the DA. The DA blames Sheriff Susan Hudson's mismanagement. Sheriff Hudson is blaming a lack of funding for the jail, and City Council is pushing back on those claims about funding. And State Representative Amy Freeman, who is a Democrat, is now the first lawmaker to openly call on Sheriff Hudson to resign. Ooh. Meanwhile, there's still the investigation into whether staff aided in this jailbreak, and 6 highly dangerous inmates on the loose with a $20,000 reward for information on each of them. Obviously, leaving out a lot of detail about all these stories. We had a reporter on each one of these story elements today. You can find their full reports on WWLTV.com or download the WWL Plus app from your TV's app store.
All right, so this is crazy work. Let me stop that. Hold on, it's playing in my ear. This is some crazy work.
A 4th.
This is crazy, but hopefully they're gonna make some sense out of it. So that's the latest update on. I think there's just one thing about the coordinated effort to find these guys. Let me bring this in. And this is from the local news outlet there in New Orleans. I don't know if y'all say it like that. I'm sorry. They might not even say it like that. All right. And of course the audio isn't working. I'm glad I checked before I put this in. Okay, I got it working. All right, let me back up a little bit. All right, let's bring this in for y'all. And Let's see what y'all think about it. Let's go. Let's go. All right, let's do this correctly. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. All right, looks good. Let's go, Jason. Let's go.
It is now day 4 of the manhunt for 7 inmates who escaped during a jailbreak in New Orleans. And tonight we're learning the communications breakdown that happened in the hours after the escape has happened before. In fact, several city leaders sounded the alarm after the New Year's Day terror attack. And that is where we begin this evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Cherise Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. The sheriff's office found out about the jailbreak more than 8 hours after it happened. Took even longer for them to notify other law enforcement. And in a moment, we'll show you documents that reveal the same kind of delays were exposed in the past. But first, the latest on the escape and the fallout. Today, State Representative Amy Freeman became the first elected official to call for Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson to resign. The Orleans Parish DA also said today that 2 of his prosecutors are in hiding in fear of their safety. And today, the reward for information that leads to an arrest is up to $20,000 per inmate.
Meanwhile, new fallout tonight over the response to the escape. Investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein has obtained internal emails showing how communication breakdowns among New Orleans law enforcement is a recurring issue.
Of course, it's concerning. Of course it is. But these are things that we can work out.
That was NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick's response when she was asked about her department not being notified immediately about Friday's mass escape from the city jail. She acknowledged the need for all agencies to work together more closely.
We got to work in partnership on this.
But this was not the first time that the NOPD and other agencies were slow to get on the same page in a crisis.
Wow.
After the New Year's terror attack, in which 14 people were killed and 57 wounded, the same communication gaps were noted by police expert William Bratton, the consultant hired to compile this 41-page after-action report by his company, the Teneo Group.
Relationships matter, and they're genuine.
That was Kirkpatrick commenting when the Teneo report was published. One of the report's recommendations was the creation of formal intelligence sharing among all law enforcement agencies, sometimes called a fusion center. But even before that report was published, concerns about communication were discussed in these emails involving Kirkpatrick, Bratton, and others. Obtained by WWL Louisiana through a public records request, this January email from Teneo coordinator Courtney Adante to Bratton stated, quote, "It is our impression that the various agencies are operating in somewhat siloed fashion." In another January email from Bratton to Kirkpatrick, he wrote, "It feels as if each entity is doing its own thing."
That's going to be one of my number one of all the recommendations, is how to bolster the intelligence issues in our department.
It did identify that we've had communication and coordination problems.
At the time, City Council Vice President Helena Moreno said the information gaps jumped out to her as the Teneo report's most important findings, even more than the recommendation to turn Bourbon Street into a pedestrian mall.
The information that was provided in the Teneo report about kind of the intelligence gaps that we're facing and how to potentially scale those up, I thought those were really critical details.
The city and police department have yet to formally address how it's dealing with the recommendations from that report. Mike Pearlstein, WWL, Louisiana.
Sheriff Susan Hudson said Friday her own command staff didn't realize the extent of the jailbreak until about 8:30 Friday morning. She said she wasn't notified until 9 o'clock around there. Hudson said her office alerted the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, but even then, the NOPD said it remained largely unaware until sometime later.
Y'all, that's got to be some bona fide craziness right there, y'all. That is wild stuff. Let me see if Marshall sent me anything else. But no, that is so sad because we know that that's going to impact, well, we already know is impacting people who are victims, because now they're sitting there wondering if the guy that potentially did something against their family member or against them is running free. And then we know that there's somebody that's shady inside the jail that helped them to some degree, shape, or form. I mean, you're not getting cell phones and loaded weapons and alcohol into the jail without some kind of help. I'm sorry. Unless you can tell me they dropping them with drones. That's the only thing you're gonna make me believe. But so yeah, this is pretty bad, man. And I mean, I think the lady should resign. I mean, if nothing else, but because it was on her watch. Now, let's put our tinfoil hats on here for a second, children. They are running an election next year for that position, the sheriff's position. So, okay, is it possible that this is a giant effort to disqualify, what's her name? Hudson is her last name, from being sheriff? You know, hey, who's going to vote for her now that 10 inmates got away on her watch, whether she was responsible for it or not? I'm wondering, just something wondering. What's going on? Violence in the building. Grace and peace to y'all. I did not want to be here long. Lady Dear World Christian just walked in. I just wanted to make sure I talked about this. Yeah, the staff had to help. There had to have been. Apex, I agree. Yep, it's bad all around. There's a lot of money in bringing in contraband to inmates. That's craziness, man. That is bona fide craziness. I don't know. Correction officer for lockdown. Good to see you. That is just craziness right there. And it's sad to see and it's wild. Because you're thinking the church, you're thinking of the jail. Well, they need the church. You're thinking that the jail is automated, so it's probably going to be working more efficiently. Lo and behold, they done found a way to rip the doors off the hinge and off the tracks and cause all this chaos and such like that, to the point that it looks like this jail looks worse than Rice Street. And if you follow the YSL trial, you know about Rice Street. So it's just wild that we've gotten to this point in this thing. And so today's day 4. If you just opt in, today's day 4. They have found 4 of the inmates. There's still 6 that are running free, but maybe they'll catch one a day. I don't know. Or maybe they'll I don't know. But they said that the one guy, he got away and he was out for 3 weeks, so that's 21 days. But apparently this jail has had a lot of problems, so this is not the first time, nor probably not gonna be the last time they have this type of issue. But let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I did not want to be long, so I said I'd give you an update on this every time I get a chance. So not all automation is good. I agree. I agree. I don't know. I hate to say, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know the ins and outs of jail systems and how they keep these prisoners away from society. I don't know. But apparently, this is not the solution that we have at the current moment in the Parish jail over there in New Orleans. But I mean, it is what it is. So y'all, thank you so much for rocking with me. I appreciate y'all jumping into the best live chat on the internet. I will be back in the morning, planning on day 19 of the Karen Reed trial. It was pretty interesting today, so I'm looking forward to doing that again tomorrow. I'm committed to doing it for the week for sure, and we'll keep following back up on that. So thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Please don't mind. If you don't mind, please tip your waiter on the way out the door. Hit that green heart on the way out the door. Please make sure you hit the like button. I really appreciate you. Thank you for liking the video. And if you find value, thank you for subscribing. And if not, I hope to talk to you again real soon, everybody. So until then, grace and peace. See you soon.